In this video, I'm taking you along with us as we complete our Mexican residency at the INM, or the Instituto Nacional de Migración, in Merida, Yucatan. Come on, let's go. So our immigration lawyer Yesenia has helped us through every stage of this process. So she helped us with the original applications for the consulate back in Canada. She prepared us and briefed us for the interview we would go through there. And then she prepared us for what would happen when we got here to Mexico. So the night before we went into the meeting at the INM, she asked us to come by her office. Now, there's a couple of forms for us to sign, and she just briefed us again on what was going to happen. And mostly she calmed our nerves because I was just freaking out, imagining being quizzed every possible question, and probably in Spanish. And she just calmed us down, said it'll just be totally fine. Yesenia is awesome. If you'd like to talk to her about your case, just comment below or reach out to us, and I'll make the connection to get you in contact with her. So when Yesenia booked our appointment with the INM, it turns out it was the last day that they were taking bookings. And after that, they stopped taking bookings. The system has been kind of screwed up. Now people have to camp out, sometimes in the wee hours of the morning, like 2 o'clock in the morning. They have to camp out and sit there in a lawn chair and wait, or pay somebody to stand in line and wait for your appointment. So hopefully that'll be changing. She tells me the system is changing soon, and we'll try to get her on the channel here to give us some updates of what's happening there. Now, if you have any Mexican immigration questions you'd like me to ask her, leave those in the comments below, and I'll try to get them to answer them for the channel to keep all of us informed on what's the latest information. Now, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell to make sure that you don't miss any upcoming videos. So we arrived at immigration about 20 minutes before our 10 o'clock appointment. And we looked around, and there was quite a few people waiting in line. They had a little tent for shade set up and fans going. But looking around, there's very few of the people there look like they might be Canadians or Americans. And Yesenia explained that many of them were actually not even there for immigration exactly, but there was also a detention center there from people that were detained from being illegally in Mexico from other parts of Latin America. And many of these people were their families that were there to visit them. Yesenia went on to explain what was going to happen when we were called in, when it was time for our appointment, and we were called in almost exactly at 10 o'clock when our appointment was scheduled for, that we would be called in. Right inside the door there was going to be a little sign-in book. It turned out it was just like a really simple little paper book, and you just sign in your name, etc. And then we would be given a number and wait to be called in by an agent. If we had any questions go through the process, because she couldn't go in there with us, we could just tell the agent that we had somebody outside to assist us, and they would come out and call her. It turns out that wasn't even necessary. Okay, good morning from Merida. This is the INM Immigration Office. We have an appointment here for 10 o'clock this morning. And so what they're going to do is they're going to come call our name for our 10 o'clock appointment. Our lawyer is going to be here waiting outside. So we'll go in. Basically, they'll assign us a desk, and then we will sit and wait for our names to be called. And they speak English, sort of. But when they call our appointment, if we need help, then we'll just tell them we have somebody outside, and then they'll come get us. So it's a long wait, 1 to 2 hours, apparently. And then they're just going to process our immigration cards. So the fees are already paid yesterday at the bank. And so we're just waiting to process it all. Lots of processing, lots of waiting. So we'll let you know when we're done. Now, once inside, we were directed to stand immediately inside the door and wait our turn to sign the logbook. We were then given a card showing which wicket we would be called up to. And then we were ushered into the next room, which is just a waiting room. There was a TV monitor set up so that we could see when our number was called and which wicket we were to go to. Now, being my wife and I both went, we were actually given 2 different cards, and so we were actually attended at the same time by 2 different agents. Now, the wait was surprisingly short, and the agent that helped me did have some English, but she kept having to ask a little bit of help from another agent. I believe it was the agent that was helping my wife. I saw her looking past me a few times, and I noted that she was looking at a couple holding a tiny, rather newborn baby. And so I chatted with her a little bit about the baby and the best Spanish that I could, and that broke the ice, and there was lots of smiles. So I found out later what was going on with the baby is the mother had been there to finish her immigration status the week or so before and had gone into labor right there in the waiting room, which caused a stir, particularly amongst the female customs agents or the immigration agents. And so they're all kind of interested when she returned with her brand new baby. And the whole process ended up with us walking out less than an hour later with our Mexican residency cards. Well, hello again. We just finished the process. So we arrived here about 9:30 for our 10 o'clock appointment. So we've been in about 10 o'clock. We were warned that it would take, or advised that it would take maybe 1 hour or 2 hours. Uno o dos horas. And it took us about 45 minutes. So it was all complete quite quickly. So we waited outside until they called us in for our appointment. They were calling for people with 10 o'clock appointments. So we went in, and you have to sign in a register at the front door. Then at the desk, they gave us a little card to show us what wicket to go to and what our number was. And so we got inside, and it was almost immediately. We waited 5 or 10 minutes, and then we were called forward. Lots of paperwork, which we had mostly all prepared, but there was a bunch of documents we still had to sign. I had to turn in our FNM and all the immigration documents. And then they took fingerprints, took photos of our front, which you're allowed to smile at, just not crazy smile, and then of the right side and the left side. And 45 minutes later, we come out with our immigration card. So it was a fairly straightforward process, and the people were pretty friendly and pretty easy to deal with. It was awesome. So I am a resident of Mexico. Now come along with us as we explore Mexico not as tourists, but as immigrants looking to establish a new life in a new country. We're going to show you practical things, our observations and fun we have along the way. You will also meet others that have gone before, and those that can help us learn more about this fascinating country and culture. Subscribe and click the bell notification icon so you won't miss future videos when they come out. I'll see you next time. Vive Libre!